me the group layout. There we go. Dark greetings, everybody.
Dark greetings. You weren't on the stage.
Oh, hold up. I should connect my headphones.
That'd be smart.
Come on. And I should wear them properly. Just a myriad of things that would be super, super helpful.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. I think we can rock and roll now. Can I hear you?
Can you hear me?
No, I cannot. Let me double check and make sure it's not me this time. It is not. Oh, wait, I can hear you clicking.
Oh.
There it is.
Okay, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure everything's fine on my end.
Beautiful. Dark greetings, everybody. So before we start talking about Vinland Saga tonight, I want to take 5 seconds, get ever so slightly serious, and say, and I've got a shitty cold one here. I'm gonna crack open my nuts. I love that for you. I'm gonna crack open my cheap, shitty cold one in the name of Mr. David fucking Lynch, one of the realest ones to ever hold a camera, who we tragically lost today. So this one is for you, my guy. I got my Twin Peaks shirt on. I got my tea and my Twin Peaks mug. God, what a visionary fucking filmmaker. And literally if I hadn't seen The Elephant Man in high school, which led me to Twin Peaks and Eraserhead, I would not be the horror fan that I am. I would not have an appreciation for more ephemeral anime pieces like Angel's Egg. I would not be the person I am without the work of David Lynch. That shaped my taste in film and art and television as I was becoming an adult, and I am forever grateful for that. So we're pouring one out for the man tonight.
Yes, I made sure that I went downstairs. I was like, oh, let me grab a beer, but I wouldn't bring my bottle opener, so I opened it downstairs. But
understandable.
Yeah.
But yeah, God, what a fucking real one, man.
Yeah,
Nobody was doing it like him.
Just in terms of his work, but like, what a weird motherfucker. And I mean that in the best way possible.
Literally. The man was like no one else, and there will never be anyone else like him again.
Nope. He kind of fits in that too weird to live, too rare to die category.
We've lost 2 out of 4 great Davids now.
Okay.
Bowie, Byrne, Cronenberg, Lynch.
I was going to ask if that was like a thing or if it's a you thing.
That's a me thing, but I think it should be a universal thing.
Got it.
So with all of that being said, bringing it back around to Vinland Saga, I really liked having you lead the discussion last week, so I'm going to say we do that again.
Okay. Let me find my notes. I've had so many apps open. Jeez, where is it? Okay, there it is. So many apps open. 7. We're on episode 7, right? We're 7 through 9.
Yes. Beginning with episode 7, Normani.
Thorfinn got scary.
Thorfinn got really fucking scary.
Like, that was my first thought, the pirates are going to be pirates and all that stuff. But then just that look in his face, just...
Again, it's giving Aaron.
Yes.
It's giving like season 4 Aaron, and he's a child.
But even like in a worse way though, because Aaron almost seemed more hollow.
Yeah.
Whereas he's just like full of anger.
Rage.
Yeah. So, but I think what's kind of helpful in this episode is it finally makes sense why Thorfinn is actually like going along with them and doing stuff. Because before I'm like, these people killed your dad. Like,
Yeah.
they do these horrible things to you. Why are you kind of following them around and doing what they tell you? It's to get a chance at a duel.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to finally know that. And I think it's one of those things where I haven't like looked up any spoilers. I've been trying really hard to avoid it, but I have seen pictures of both Thorfinn and Askeladd as like, older. So I know they're not going to die anytime soon. So it's like, okay, so this is going to be a thing. They're just going to keep dueling and keep dueling.
Yeah, that's the impression that I'm getting. Little aside, Thor's narrator seems to be a permanent thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which is wild because the voice actor, I've only known him to do villain voices.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he's the voice of the major villain in Demon Slayer, Muzan Kibutsuji.
Got it.
He's a villain in Sword Art Online as well. I don't think Arthur's here, but he's the only person I know who's seen Sword Art Online. In case he is, he voiced Gabriel during the Gun Gale arc. So it's weird to like think of him as a nice guy and a narrator. I'm like, Lord Muzan. By the way, I do spend a decent amount of time looking up the voice actors and seeing what else they've done, because I every time I hear a new voice, I'm like, I know that voice, and I have to like figure it out. There's 2 different dubs for this show.
Oh? I did not know
if
that.
The other one is on Crunchyroll. I'm going to check it out and see if that's where it is.
Huh, okay.
Because when I went to look up the voice actors, it was like, oh, is it the Sentai one or is it the LA whatever one? And I was like, wait, what? Apparently this one is better. The one on Netflix is better.
Okay, noted.
But I do now. I'm like, well, if the other voice actors are on Crunchyroll, maybe I'll watch the other and like compare. But just a fun fact. They came out like a year apart, which is weird.
That is very odd.
Yeah.
But we've got Floki again. Reappearing in the narrative for a brief moment at least.
Fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy indeed. And Thorfinn is growing up fast, and I kind of wonder how much time we're going to spend with him at this age.
I believe we said that last week in our I don't remember the screen name, but the person last week said we get to spend a little time with him at this age.
Okay.
Toward the end of it. So it seems like it'll be a little while.
And also, this is neither here nor there, but I'm Armin looking ass.
I know, right? Well, that's why especially when he was like the 6-year-old version of himself, he kept reminding me of Armin.
Yeah. I gotta say, he must speak like 3 languages at this point.
I mean, not necessarily fluently, because he had to find somebody who spoke Norse.
Yeah, but still, like, the fact that he's getting by at all is pretty impressive.
Yeah, which it was really funny to hear them saying words in English that were then being translated into English.
Yeah, it was kind of like, it was a little bit pointless, but whatever.
It feels a little silly. Like, it's obvious why they have to do it that way, but it still feels very silly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, speaking of Attack on Titan, that general guy reminds me of a Titan.
He's like, had such Titan energy.
It's like, oh my god, he is a Titan. Get him, Armin.
Get him indeed. I really liked in this episode, I loved the shot of the Viking masthead against the moon. I thought that was really nice.
Yeah.
And also, I had a moment where I was like, oh yeah, people did still think dragons were like a real thing you had to worry about at this point.
Yeah. That's true. I think we have the opposite problem these days, where we think things aren't real, and then it turns out they are, and we're like, really? Like the platypus.
Yeah. But these battle sequences, they're so epic and intense.
Yeah. Yeah, at first I thought, why on earth are they carrying ships across land? Because those bitches got to be heavy. Um,
Which,
and I was like, is it just
holy
like,
shit, just such an insane thing to even be a plot point.
yeah, I was like, is this like an intimidation tactic? They're not gonna like use them as a battering ram or something. And it was like, oh wait, water.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? But it's like it's wild that they even would have done something like that. Where it's
And
like,
I'm
oh yeah.
wondering, actually, I'm wondering if that ever happened.
By the way, it's hard to. I keep wanting to read about the history, but then it sort of seems like spoilers for the show because we haven't gotten to
Yes,
this bit yet. But
Vikings did carry their ships
yeah,
over land. Wow, that's crazy.
yeah, yeah. I was reading about Thorkel the Tall, and I was like, crap, this is like kind of spoiling what's to come in a way.
Oh, he was real.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So Leif Erikson wasn't the only reference to actual historical figures. Well, I guess the kings and stuff were probably also.
Yeah, I mean, and these were all things that actually happened.
I figured they at least had some
Otherwise.
base, but again, I was like, I don't want to know.
Well, that's why again I was reading about it. I was like, no, now I know what he's going to be doing next and who's going to be teaming up with who because the prince is real as well. So, but
Okay.
Just a fun fact while I'm thinking of it, we have no idea how tall he was because they didn't really do measurements, and record them. But in the context of the show, he is 7'7".
Jesus.
Yeah, just a fun
That's
fact that I learned while trying to figure out how tall he actually was, and then realized, of course, we don't know how tall he actually was. Anyhow, the ships. They were carrying the ships. That's what we're talking about.
But yeah, physically carrying warships into battle. God damn.
Yeah.
I will say, Thorfinn, like, he's scary. He's a badass. He's genuinely, like, I would be afraid of him.
Yeah, especially given his age, because again, he's still what, 12 at this point?
I thought he was like 15.
Oh, is he now? I can't keep it straight.
They're not particularly exact with the dates either.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, I'd have to double check the wiki again. I was trying to keep track, but
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, and it's all self-taught. No one's like trained him or anything, except for before he was
trial
6.
by fire.
Yeah, I guess you just figure that stuff out if you have to. The fact that he is kind of a little guy works in his favor. I mean, short, but he's getting pretty jacked. He's looking thick.
Thick boy. This was kind of fucked up, but like I've really wanted him to get the general's head.
Yeah. It is. It's hard. I feel like it's complicated because nothing anybody is doing is good.
Yeah.
None of this is good. None of these things are necessary. Nobody needs to die in any of these contexts.
Like, no, not at all.
It's all bad. And yet Thorfinn's like our hero. So we want him to succeed.
I do want him to succeed, even if he's doing highly questionable things. And like, I understand his drive, like, a lot.
Yeah.
So like, I want him to get revenge, and everything that has to happen for him to get that is also is sort of by default then something that I'm rooting for.
Yeah, and keep in mind, like, that guy also that he killed has killed a bunch of people and probably isn't a good person anyway. And it's like, it's all bad.
It is definitely all not very bueno.
Yeah, this is. I was trying to do the math about how old he is. Maybe he's 16, actually. I can't remember what year we were at.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. They give you the subtitle.
Yeah, he was born in 996.
Damn. It's insane to think we had a year that small.
Yeah, I thought it was like 10, 12-ish.
I think that's what it is.
So 16 he would be?
Yeah. Oh, I was right. But, also, man, the French suck even in anime.
I was waiting for you to rip on the French. I knew you were gonna.
Listen, when you've committed this hard to the bit, it can never stop.
Yeah. No, as soon as I was like, oh, French, I know exactly what Bridget's gonna say.
Sorry. But yeah, planning to attack the Vikings on their way back. Rude.
Yeah, and it's I mean, it really works out nicely because they were going to betray them, but then they got betrayed first, and it's just it's like
Karma.
Whoever got betrayed in this scenario deserved it because you're all a bunch of liars. So
Pretty
it's
much.
fine.
Yeah, it's hard to feel. It's a little hard to feel bad for the Yams Vikings, even though technically, like, Thorfinn is with them at this point. However, begrudgingly.
And he apparently gets a share of the treasure, even. Which I was surprised by. Like, I assumed he didn't get anything because he was just kind of tagging along and all he wanted was a duel and didn't care about the treasure, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would certainly take it. Were I in his position.
I mean, he's got to feed himself, I guess, somehow.
But in the end,
hard to imagine
he's
him
looking for, he gets the head of a general. Which
Yeah.
is terrifying, given that, again, he's 16.
Yeah, and he lost his head off. He's like, "Oh no!"
Yeah, and like
Butterfingers.
I can see him sort of becoming like a sort of word of mouth legend being passed like among troops, like this sort of like, you know, this like sword wielding child who killed a general.
Which it's wild too, because he doesn't fight with swords. He fights with his daggers, and he's like, "Well, this isn't going to cut off a head." Just puts it in his mouth, steals the sword. He's like, "Okay, I'm done with that now." It's wild.
Yeah, he cuts through people like it's nothing.
It is not that easy to cut off a head in one swipe.
No, not at all.
I actually think it would be literally impossible for him, but that's a whole other thing.
It's anime. We'll let it slide.
Again, I've been rewatching Hell's Paradise, and there's a whole bit about how hard it is to cut off a head in one clean strike. You have to have a knowledge of human anatomy.
Good to know. But yeah, I was like, again, happy in a fucked up way to be like, oh my god, he did it.
Well, yeah, because then it's like, oh, he gets his duel now.
Yeah, he's our boy. Even when he's making bad decisions.
Yeah, and I mean, out of all the main characters, he's the closest thing to a good person of the characters that we're currently seeing.
I would say his drive is, if not morally pure, it is perhaps pretty righteous.
Yes. But compared to, like, all the pirates and, you know.
Yeah.
It's all relative.
But also, at the end of this episode, the Vikings are insane, man. Rowing over a waterfall.
Yeah. It's like, how does it not break? It's wood. That ship is made of wood. I guess there weren't any rocks or anything, or it wasn't too shallow. Like, holy cow.
I guess I got real lucky.
They just don't care. They're just like, yeah, whatever, fuck it.
Yeah, it's a very full send sort of attitude towards literally everything that they seem to have. No half measures. No half measures indeed. But then in episode 8, we learn that they do in fact safely make it back with all their treasure. So now they're set for the winter, it would seem.
To their home village, where apparently they're like pretty much famous.
They seem well established.
Yeah, like everyone wants to be them or marry them or whatever.
Yeah, Askeladd was popular. I didn't necessarily see that coming.
Yeah, I didn't think of him as handsome. I mean, it's hard to gauge with animation, you know?
I mean, they certainly didn't animate him to be distinctly unattractive. Like, you can tell when they want a character to not be appealing, you know? Yeah. A lot of times with animation.
Yeah, but it's just like it didn't occur to me, you know? It didn't really seem like it was part of the character for him to be attractive to women, and I was like, oh, okay, this is...
Although, honestly, like,
this is new.
Knowing from just TV and movies and other, like, forms of media, just knowing, like, vaguely what some of the sort of Viking values are, like, yeah, he probably would be very, like, you know, he's a successful warrior. He probably would be very attractive to Viking women.
Yeah. By the way, this is completely irrelevant to anything, but when they first land and Thorfinn's walking through and he bumps into the one guy and he was like,
he has only the duel on his mind.
Well, he's like, tells the kid to like watch where he's going or apologize or something, and Thorfinn gives him the glare and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we keep seeing this guy pop up and he wants to be part of the crew and everything. He has freckles.
He's a fanboy.
No, that's all I want to say. He has freckles. As a freckled human, I very rarely see characters with freckles.
Huh. Well, there you go.
As I said, it has nothing to do with anything. But as somebody who is absolutely covered with them and has hated them my entire life, I notice when there are freckled characters, and there pretty much never are. And he only has like 5 freckles, but still.
It counts.
Representation for my fellow speckled people.
But yeah, we do get to see the duel. I thought there was going to be a bit more build up to it.
Yeah, and that's again, once they were actually like dueling, I was like, oh, well, clearly this isn't going to end with one of them.
Yeah,
dying.
This isn't going to end with a death.
Yeah,
but Thorfinn is fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
I was very impressed
yeah.
by his move disarming Askeladd there. However briefly it lasted.
Yeah. I mean, he's not that strong because he's still not fully developed. He's still in puberty, so you got to be fast to compensate.
Mm-hmm.
See.
And as I was watching, I thought, Askeladd trying to piss Thorfinn off. That's unfortunately for him, that's probably very smart. And it did turn out that way. He fucking dislocates his shoulder.
Yeah. But it's another one of those things that isn't quite like deceit, but is also not very honorable. Like he did when he fought Thors.
Yeah, exactly. And Askeladd continues to kind of baffle me as a character, because if he really wanted to get rid of Thorfinn, like, now's your chance. But he hasn't. And he's probably like, he seems to continually send him to die, but also not take opportunities to rid himself of the problem.
Well, again, it's like I said last week, I think he sees him as an interesting challenge. Like, I'm going to let this kid keep getting stronger and going through this stuff. And if he dies, he dies. But if he doesn't, he's going to come out stronger. And this is going to make for an even more challenging, duel in the future and make it more interesting.
Yeah. So, as much as I don't like him, he's an interesting character to follow.
Yes. I do very much hate him. He's so smug.
He's incredibly smug. You hate to see it.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of here nor there. Just once in my life, I want, their whole, feast seems so appealing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you've really... I want to have really earned it somehow. I don't know, done something very difficult, done some insane physical task, and then just have a bunch of really fucking awesome food and booze. That sounds great.
Can I interest you in the concept of long distance running?
No.
Because
I've tried.
Because that's what we do after Ragnar's. You just put yourself through hell for a day and a half, and then you just drink and eat everything you want. And I think it's the closest I can get in this life.
I mean, it already has a very Viking sounding name.
That's so true. There's a character named Ragnar that pops up.
There is a character named Ragnar. But yeah, just once in my life, I would like a Viking-worthy feast, and I would like to have really earned it. Maybe that'll be... Maybe I gotta join a cycling club or something and bike 100 miles or some shit.
That would work.
I'll put a pin in that idea. Anyway. So this little interlude where we have Thorfinn having a vision of Thor's is very interesting. I like them animating Thorfinn younger because I think it emphasizes how he's never truly grown past that moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it is. I think also it's not even just him not growing, but I think it's something like when people are with their parents, no matter how old you are, you still sort of feel like the kid, to
Yeah.
your parents. So it's like no matter how like jaded and tough he's gotten, he's still that little kid. It's kind of sweet in a way.
Yeah. In a sad sort of way. But and Jesus Christ, he almost kills I believe her name's Horta, the slave girl.
Oh, Hordaland.
Yes.
I wrote it down with 3 question marks after it. Hordaland? What a name.
Norse or Norwegian, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, he almost fucking kills her.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's jumpy.
He's very jumpy. And she gets a read on him immediately. Like, she's so right. He is a slave to his desire for revenge.
Oh, yeah. Can't think about anything else or do anything else.
Mm-hmm.
No ability to move on.
Exactly.
Very much a slave.
But then we sort of shift our focus narratively to... It's not the battlefield. It's the sort of like the camp, I guess, where the king of... I have to Google, like, what's the, like, some... Because, like, they call Thorfinn a Dane.
Yeah.
At one point, but he also gets lumped in with the Vikings. I gotta figure out what's going on there precisely, because when I think Viking, I think like Norway and Iceland and stuff like that, not Denmark necessarily.
Well, yeah, but it seems like they kind of just move around in that general area.
Yeah.
Leggy.
So I gotta do...
Yes, but the
I gotta
king
do a little bit of
Denmark.
I gotta do a little bit of Googling. But yes, we have the king of Denmark, who is also referred to as the king... Again, he's like referred to as the king of the Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, but the Vikings aren't specific to a country.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would think of that as more of just like a nickname in a way.
Yeah.
Which this must be why I wrote the note, ooh, more history. I was like, I don't even know.
Yes, we've got the king and the prince, and our first introduction to Thorkel the Tall is, holy shit, decapitating multiple people with one axe throw.
I think he's kind of adorable.
He's kind of fun.
I like him.
Like, I don't hate the guy, if I'm being completely honest. I don't disagree with you.
He's like, just like, when he first pops up and you see his face and he's smiling, like, oh my god, he's so cute. I don't care if he's a giant, like,
he's got fun energy. I'll give him that.
I like him.
But that does bring us to episode 9, the Battle of London Bridge.
Yep.
And one of the first things I wrote down was like King Sweyn, Thorkel. There's so much to keep track of.
Yes, I've walked across London Bridge. Which is, super weird to think about that that's like the same river and the same like terrain. Obviously it's animated, but you know what I mean.
Still, it's crazy.
It's wild that it was wild, that long ago. Yeah.
But yes, Bjorn emphasizing that he fights for the love of the game and nothing else.
Yeah, which again, that's such a major... I mean, I guess it's one thing I always knew about Vikings, and at the same time, it's like, that really is like the primary motivation. They just like a fight. If they get some like money and stuff to go with it, cool.
Even better.
But it's like, yeah, I just want to like kill some people.
Well, I mean, Ascalon is definitely... or has shown himself to be the most like materially motivated out of all the characters we've encountered thus far.
But I think he also has to be, because he's responsible for his men. Like, he's got to make sure that they make enough money to like feed themselves and all that, whereas the men don't have to worry about that. They just do what he tells them to do.
Yeah.
So they don't have to be like, oh, where can we get money? He's like, all right, I'll have to do all this so I can make sure, we have what we need to survive a winter.
But pun intended, Askeladd gives Thorfinn a very tall order, the head of Thorkel the Tall.
Yeah, no. There's no way he didn't know that was a suicide mission.
Oh, of course.
Never see him again.
Yeah, no. And this is just one of those little small things. I love Thorfinn throwing his dagger and breaking Askeladd's like jug as he's holding it.
Yeah.
Show him.
Yeah, he's also in a very Viking way, like a bratty little kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it.
Which, like, not remotely shocking. I would be too.
Uh-huh.
This is maybe not so great, but I really do hope Thorfinn gets to kill Askeladd in the end.
I think that'll be a ways off.
Even if it is a ways off, I feel like I want it to happen because of how satisfying I think it'll be when we finally get there.
Yeah. There's a part of me that's worried that won't happen just because, like, I feel like they love to turn things on their heads when it's something you've been waiting for a long time. And, like, not to bring up JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but, like,
I mean, now is an especially appropriate time. We are talking about anime.
Yeah, but just as a broad, like, I would say at least 70% of the villains they fight in that show become allies.
Nice.
And so, but that seems to be a common theme in a lot of anime where it's like, we're fighting against one another, but then they realize the wrong of their ways and then we become allied together or whatever. And it's like, please don't let this turn into, Thorfinn going through an emotional journey and realizing he doesn't need to kill Askeladd,
Yeah, I'm not here for that, to be completely honest with you. I'm here for vengeance. Maybe he can realize that vengeance wasn't as sweet as he thought it was going to be, but at least give it to him in the first place.
Yes. Give me the vengeance.
Give me the vengeance, indeed. But with everyone converging on this one location, that means that Floki's here too.
I hate that guy.
Yeah, I really don't love him.
No. I do love that Thorkel calls Thorfinn a jolly little idiot.
Yeah, that was kind of fun.
That made me LOL. I gotta say, I mean, I don't know how long he's gonna be around, but Thorkel is my favorite character now.
I can't even blame you, dude. I really can't.
I love that guy.
He's a lot of fun. Yeah, he's fucking massive.
Mm-hmm. Again, 7'7" according to the Vinland Saga wiki.
Jesus.
Can you imagine?
No, I cannot. And also, like, I find him particularly interesting because he's in it for the love of the game almost even more than Bjorn is. Like, because he just wants to fight on whichever side is most interesting. Like, he's fighting against fellow Vikings, and his brother is like a Viking chieftain, which that seems like a pretty serious transgression on Thorkel's part.
Yeah.
To be joining the enemy side when your brother is a leader of a Viking clan.
Yeah, which again, it all goes back to the Vikings and for most of them, I don't think it really has anything to do with the money or anything else. It's just like, we love to fight. This is our major hobby, and wherever we can find the best fight, it doesn't matter. Much. That's why I really didn't expect him to say, like, no, I'm going to stick with this side because they'd be boring to fight against, essentially.
Yeah. Which, wow. But this whole, like, every episode seems to have a battle sequence, and every one of them is bigger and, like, more epic than the last. Like, this was crazy. I loved Thorkel, like, throwing the Vikings get fucking clobbered, which is not what I was expecting.
Giant logs.
But him throwing the giant spike logs through the ship, through multiple ships.
Yeah, he destroys like every single ship.
Mm-hmm. Well, except for the Yams Vikings. They make it out mostly okay.
By every ship, I mean the Danish ships.
Yes.
Yeah, it's wild. And he's just so happy the whole time. It's great.
He's having a fantastic time. I kind of love that for him.
I love him. He's great.
Yeah, I really do hope we see more of him. But for a moment there, Thorfinn almost had him, which is very impressive for, an angry 16-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, I think a big part of it is because he underestimated him. Because he's like, oh, there's this 16-year-old kid with a couple of daggers. Like, how big of a threat can he be? Because he looks so surprised when he's like, wait, he cut me?
Yeah, also, casually pulling a dagger out of your own hand.
I wonder if that guy is
means business.
Yeah, no, he doesn't seem to experience pain.
No, not at all.
It's pretty wild. I mean, he loses fingers and is just like, gesturing with the hand with missing fingers.
Oh yeah, he's
like
just vibing.
Just great. Whatever. It's fine. Had fun.
I feel like the adrenaline of battle must be a hell of a drug.
That's true. I mean, once again, maybe this is why they chose the name Ragnar for the Ragnar races, but I sort of experienced that in a way with that, where it's just like you feel like you're in the heat of battle in a way where it's like, I just have to get through this. I just have to keep moving. Mm-hmm. And then you realize later on, you're like, oh my God.
What did I do?
So much pain. Like the first Ragnar I did, I had black toenails that fell off and I didn't even know it during the race.
I mean, there you go.
So I get it a little bit. Not even close to the same thing, but the general idea.
Yes, I can't imagine. Like, if you get it... If you cannot realize what you're doing to yourself just by, running for a really long time, I cannot imagine what it would actually be like fighting for your legitimate life.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, you get, runner's high running, but you don't get, the adrenaline level that you would get if people are rushing at you with sharp implements.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
then when the battle ends,
yeah,
I'm very interested in meeting this Canute character.
Oh, the prince?
Yeah, the way there's been a fair amount of buildup already, and Ragnar has very little faith in him.
He's going to become a central character. Because, in the wiki on the list of main characters, he's listed, third or fourth.
Ragnar?
No. What was his name? It starts with a C, the prince.
Canute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. So I'm wondering why Ragnar has Vinland Saga is the GOAT. Hell yeah.
We are loving it.
That's good to know. Yes, we're very interested. We're talking about episodes 7 through 9, so we have both spoiler policy in effect for the viewer. If you haven't watched that far, warning, and reverse spoiler policy in effect for us, where if you've seen the entire show, please don't tell us what happens past episode 9. We haven't gotten there yet.
Yes, we are restraining ourselves to, just 3 episodes a week, and it is very difficult to not.
It's a challenge, but it's also fun to actually watch serialized television again.
No, I just wanted to binge watch it, and it's killing me.
Oh, sorry. I like it. But yeah, so, well, now with this little hint that he's going to become an incredibly important character, I'm wondering why Ragnar has so little faith in him as a leader.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting because he keeps talking about how essentially he's been pampered and he's scared of everything, which,
he's already out here on a battlefield.
Yeah, I feel like that can't be true somehow.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's somehow misunderstanding him or something.
Yeah. And also, I know he's an animated character, but I'm just hoping he's hot. I feel like he might be a pretty boy, just based on the fact that he already has those anime blue eyes.
Yeah, I feel like he looks like a pretty boy with the helmet and everything, and just the eyes that are trying to make him mysterious and sexy. Mm-hmm. But I have seen pictures of him again on the wiki, just looking at the voice actors. So I will just not say anything further.
Okay, noted. I'm hoping he's a pretty boy.
I do want to note, though, that So when Thorfinn and Thorkel are fighting, Thorkel asks Thorfinn his name, and he says, Thorfinn, son of Thor's. It seems like he knew Thor's.
I think a lot of people knew Thor's.
But I'm wondering if that's going to, in some way, like, change things. Like, I really want to see Thorkel, like, adopt Thorfinn in a way. Like, I feel like he's going to seek him out. Like, I want to see them have a conversation, and
we appreciate
talk about
that, brother.
Yeah, like, appreciate the history between Thor's and Thorkel. Like, talk about, like, oh, I fought with your dad or whatever. He was a man of honor, and then, like, maybe he.
Oh yeah, because they kind of imply that that Thorkel was part of the Jomsvikings at one point.
Yeah, but I'm hoping to see, like, a relationship develop, I guess, between Thor's and Thorkel.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he provides some sort of insight on Thor's that, he wouldn't have gotten otherwise.
Yeah, but at the end of this battle, Thorfinn is once again extremely battered, but more determined than ever. He just pops his own fucking shoulder back into place and moves on.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Which, it's really interesting because, so in episode 8, when he almost kills, I had to look at her name again, Hordaland, when she brings him food, I was thinking at the time, like, he seems to have lost, like, all empathy. Like, he has no ability to feel any sort of emotion other than hate and rage at this point. But then at the very end of this episode,
yeah,
he basically he's like, I just do not understand why you people are so excited about killing and why you can, like, love killing. And it's like, I'm
wondering if it's, again, that he's not in it for the love of the game. He's in it, like, with this sort of righteous anger, and he doesn't understand people doing it without that drive.
Yeah, I mean, I think he is in it purely for the revenge aspect of things, but at the same time, it's like, I figured he would have gotten so jaded because he's killed so many people. And so the fact that he was just like, I don't understand you people, is like, oh, okay, so maybe he hasn't fully lost his humanity.
Which is good. It's like, furthering the depth of the character.
Yeah, because, we talked about this a little bit last week, or is it the week before? It's already starting to blend together. We've only done this 3 weeks.
That's a great sign.
I know, right? But the episode where the woman, like, takes him in after he's injured and, like, helps him, and I thought it was last week, but I can never be too sure. But where he tries to, like, warn her, but then she doesn't go anywhere, and he sees her being swept away, and it's just kind of like, okay. I was like, oh god, this kid, he is losing all touch. So
perhaps this it did have an impact on him that we haven't seen the full extent of yet.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that the end of this episode is a good sign in a way, because he almost seems like, like, he's not really crying per se. Yeah,
but he's having big feelings.
Yeah, I mean, he does look like he has this anguished look on his face that's not necessarily like the usual hate, rage kind of thing, but more just like a generally, I am upset with humanity because you people are like this. And I couldn't tell if it was more that or more just like that he was in physical pain because he was. Maybe it's a combination, but he does seem to retain a little bit of who he was, which is a good sign.
I think they're gonna stray from the standard sort of like anime character development path with Thorfinn.
I would hope. I mean, at this point, having so much anime, it's predictable.
Yeah, because they're already sort of hinting at, like, instead, like, I don't think he's gonna have the arc where, I mean, again, I want him to get his revenge. I really do. I think he deserves it, and frankly, I think it would be, like, very predictable to have him, have Askeladd at the point of his dagger and be like, oh, if I kill you, I'm not any better than you. I really don't want to see that. I would rather him, like, but I also at the same time I want to see a conflict a little more complex than I get my revenge, but then I feel bad about it.
Yeah, which again, we know that these characters are going to be around for much longer. Because again, I've seen pictures of both of them much older, so unintentionally, but sometimes you got to make those sacrifices to learn information that you want to know. So we know it's not going to happen anytime soon, which is good, you know. So we know that that's probably not going to happen. That it's going to happen like right away. Chatter's positive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, because I would agree with that, because I think they're like many of even the young men in Thorfinn's village, like
still
they
have that view, like, there's gonna be a war. It's so exciting.
Yeah, and I think they had this very sort of simplistic view, maybe, of like valor and heroism and all of those things, and like people suck. Like,
definitely possible.
And it's like, oh yes, Thor's had challenged Askeladd to this duel, and it was going to play out exactly as they would expect it to, and everybody's honorable, and everybody, you know, does what fits into the Viking code as they see it. And it's like, no, people
are very complicated.
Yeah, and so Thorfinn kind of going into this world with this idea of like, oh yes, my father is the greatest warrior of all. There's no way he could possibly lose. And then it's like, oh, but he can if other people suck.
Yeah, and other people, unfortunately, suck a lot.
Yeah. So yeah,
so I'm not even necessarily sure what I want, because like I don't want two very kind of conflicting things narratively. Like, I do want him to get his revenge, but at the same time I don't want to go down that path of like, oh, I get my revenge but then I feel really bad about it and that's what changed it. Like, I don't necessarily know what I want. I just know I want something fresh, and I have a good feeling that I'm gonna get it.
Yeah. So we don't want the,
kind of my
I'm not going to kill you
thought on the matter.
Yeah. We don't want the, I'm not going to kill you after all because I'm grown as a person and whatever. And we don't want the, well, I killed him and now I feel like hollow or whatever because I got what I wanted and it didn't feel, as good as I'd hoped.
Yeah. I think those are two very stereotypical paths.
Yes.
And I would like to see I would like to see something branching off from either of those, branching away from either of those options.
But specifically more in the direction of Askeladd dies.
Definitely in the direction of Askeladd dies, because I like...
By Thorfinn's hand.
By Thorfinn's hand, because I think he really deserves it. Out of everyone who's made questionable decisions thus far in this show, Askeladd really deserves it.
Yes, I would say so. With one notable exception being Floki.
Floki probably does deserve it more, but we don't have... I hope someone's out to get him at some point. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. I mean, because he pretended to be Thor's friend. Yeah. Like, at least Askeladd
Well, he probably was at some point.
Well, but he did it while he knew he was going to be setting him up to be murdered. Like,
this is also very true.
That's shitty. At least Askeladd's up front.
Yeah.
What you see is what you get, I believe, is what you said last week.
Yeah. This is very true. Do we have any further thoughts on any of these 3 episodes, or we want to close it out for the night?
I think I've gotten my thoughts in. Yeah, I just want to see more Thorkel, and specifically him with Thorfinn. That's my sincere hope. I think that would
be interesting.
Yeah, that's my major hope at this point.
Fingers crossed. If you enjoyed this stream, we do this every Thursday at 8, and we're going to be doing it until almost the end of April.
Yeah, we'll be on.
The show's going to carry us for a while.
Yeah, we'll be on episodes 10, 11, and 12 next week.
So tune back in if you want to see our reactions to that. If you want to see more of us in general, we stream every Wednesday and Thursday, Wednesday being our podcast night. We need the backstory of Askeladd for a complex storytelling, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get it.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to
learn
delve
more.
into a lot of characters here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're still very early on.
We're very early on in a very lengthy show, so we've got time. But yes, and so have a nice day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. We appreciate that. But yeah, if you want to see more of us, you have 2 opportunities for that every single week. And if you want to see more from the network, you can subscribe to Big Dumb Monsters. You can subscribe to Fighting with Friends, both on Twitch and YouTube for both of those channels. Anything else we got coming up?
I don't think so.
We got network movie night on Sunday.
Oh,
we're going to be talking about Wolfman. We're going to go see that new Wolfman movie, which everyone has very low expectations for. But that is going to be streaming on the Big Dumb Monsters Twitch and YouTube channels probably at like 8-ish or so on Sunday, just based on the time that we're seeing the movie.
Which, by the way, I'll point out that for some reason everybody on our network refers to it as Wolfman, and we think that is hilarious. So just to explain why, every time we say the name of the movie, we say it that way and then laugh.
It's not mature, but it is very funny, or at least I think it is. All right. Thank you for watching, everybody. We will see you again next week. Adios, y'all.
Later.